Welcome to Catch and Go. In today's telecast, we're going to do part 7 of the title called The Sequence. And right off the back, I want everyone to understand one thing, that in this part 7 of the sequence, everyone needs to write. The title is called Part 7 to the Sequence. Below it, the global radical shift. Right below that, empires. Then below that, you simply write takeover. Now, somewhere on your papers, I simply want you to write the following words. Please place your order. Let me say that again. Please place your order. And there's divine reasons and divine purpose why I told you to write on your notes, please place your order. The title is called, this is for the third time that I'm repeating, just reinforcing, the title is called Part 7 of the sequence, the global radical shift. Below it, empire, and below that, takeover. Let's begin. PowerPoint number 1, no normalcy. PowerPoint number 2, the trigger. And for PowerPoint number 2, the trigger, I'm going to explain in part 6 to the trigger what you need to prepare for and what you need to do. PowerPoint number 3, pressure from the inside. For PowerPoint number 3, that is pressure from the inside. PowerPoint number 4, nothing functions. PowerPoint number 5, simply write the guessing game. Let us get started. But I want to go back to where I told you to write, please place your order. When I was writing my notes down and preparing and laying this message out, the grace of God spoke for the first time, and the word of the Lord came to me as I'm writing down those words. Please place your order. The Lord said, denied. The time was 12:26 p.m. June 13, 2026. And then somewhere on your notes, simply write Revelation chapter 13. Now, I'm going to give you the highlight to this entire message. I'm going to give you the key 4 points to the time of the 7-year tribulation period, and you simply write down. You need, first of all, for first point is you need to go and listen to the title God's Prophecy 2025 Global Transition, and below it the sequence. The second PowerPoint that I'm going to give you is simply write the 10 kings. Then PowerPoint number 3, write the pledge and the legion. And PowerPoint number 4, the 2 witness. Now let us get started. Let's go to PowerPoint number 1, no normalcy. But before I begin to explain, and I have for the last several years, that there's no normalcy, nothing is normal, it's going to get worse and worse. Before I begin to explain more and more in deep detail concerning PowerPoint number 1, no normalcy, I simply want to bring you divine substance and divine revelation, because the glory of God spoke and he said a divine crossover and a divine process in this third and final crossover that everyone needs to listen. I said that from the very beginning, because now I'm going to give you the substance to the title in the chapter. Everyone needs to write down Luke chapter 22 verse 1 to 71, because it is one of the climax to the end. Everyone needs to take time and break down and totally dissect Luke chapter 22, because it is totally loaded in packed and you need to be locked and ready because God's going to speak in the coming days loud and clear when it comes to Luke chapter 22. Now, I've given you the chapter. I'm not going to turn to that chapter. I'm not going to speak from that chapter. I'm going to come later on, sometime during the week, and then come back and do part 8 to the sequence from Luke chapter 22. But I'm going to break it down, dissect it, but I felt led to tell you that everyone needs to pay attention to Luke chapter 22 and the Passover and the third and final crossover. Now, let us begin and let us go back to PowerPoint number 1, no normalcy. Nothing is normal anymore. Everyone needs to listen. I said that from the very beginning because now I'm going to give you the substance to the title in the chapter. Everyone needs to write down Luke chapter 22 verse 1 to 71 because it is one of the climax to the end. Everyone needs to take time and break down and totally dissect Luke chapter 22 because it is totally loaded and packed, and you need to be locked and ready because God's going to speak in the coming days loud and clear when it comes to Luke chapter 22. Now, I've given you the chapter. I'm not going to turn to that chapter. I'm not going to speak from that chapter. I'm going to come later on, sometime during the week, and then come back and do part 8 to the sequence from Luke chapter 22. But I'm going to break it down, dissect it, but I felt led to tell you that everyone needs to pay attention to Luke chapter 22 and the Passover and the third and final crossover. Now, let us begin and let us go back to PowerPoint number 1, no normalcy. There is nothing that's normal, and it's getting darker and darker and worse outside for civilization and for all of humanity, including and especially for every born-again believer and every leader that's in Ephesians 4:11 globally around the world. PowerPoint number 2, the trigger, and I explained to you. I will explain in part 6 of the trigger why in the world part 6 accelerates things. Not only accelerates things, but why you need to pay attention and you need to listen to my prior telecast where I spoke not only from the third dream, but also from part 22, the kingdom of heaven is at hand next, and also from the title, God's divine revelation, from chapter 2, verse 12 to 17, Satan's dwelling place, Pergamum. Now, PowerPoint number 3, pressure from the inside. You see, we are going to be pressured from every angle. They're going to pressure you from the left. They're going to pressure you from the right. They're going to pressure you, and not only just pressure you, they're going to maximize that pressure until you give in and sell away your soul out of convenience. PowerPoint number 4, nothing functions. And today, it seems like everything is normal. But I said, PowerPoint number 1, there is nothing normal and there is no normalcy. In PowerPoint number 4, nothing functions. What I mean by that, everything seems like everything is smooth. PowerPoint number 5, the guessing game. And I have said over and over for the last 5 to 6 years or so or more that this is just a game of chess. Look, everyone needs to understand. I have said over and over that it's getting darker and darker, and the grace of God said and spoke for the second time. He said gloom and doom seasons. But I want to go to my closing points because I said that you need to go and listen to the title called God's Prophecy 2025 Global Transition Sequence. Then I said that my second PowerPoint in my closing was the 10 Kings. Here's the reason why. I was in the shower as I'm getting ready. The grace of God begins to take me into a place of discernment, and God's bringing divine revelation concerning the 10 kings and in the time when the 10 kings come on board. Now, you heard me say when the 10 kings are actually in place and come on board. And the 10 kings can only come on board and be fully in place after the removal, after the church has been taken out. I want to make that very clear. Then I said, for PowerPoint number 3, the pledge in the legion. Here's the reason why, and you need to understand. Because there is a point in the time where the 10 kings are fully in place. They are on the world stage. There is going to be a moment on God's divine appointed time where the 10 kings are going to make a pledge and allegiance to the Antichrist. And at that moment is when they in the Antichrist agree on that moment, on that time, that it's time to take out the two witnesses, which I said is PowerPoint number 4. Let me explain again. For the closing PowerPoint, which I said is the key in the highlight, I'm getting ready. The Lord moves me. I'm going into a place of discernment. I'm starting to discern. God's bringing divine revelation. I told you to write for the closing PowerPoint. I said for number 1, God's prophecy to 2025 global transition, the sequence. You need to go listen to that title. Then I said that my second PowerPoint in my closing is the 10 kings. And I said the 10 kings cannot come on the world stage yet. There has to be the removal of the church and the end of the church grace period, and then the start of the 7-year tribulation period. Then you will fully see the 10 kings in place. So they can't come anytime now or any moment now until the church is removed. And then the Lord said this to me, and the word of the Lord came to me, and he said, until the lawless one, and then he showed me 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, until the moment that the Antichrist is on the global world stage. He sits on that temple. We witness from eternity, standing in glory, standing in paradise. We see who is actually the Antichrist. Then the 10 kings are in place. And then the Lord showed me in the realm of the Spirit, he showed me, and also the 4 kings that will be fully in place. Now, I said for PowerPoint number 3 in my closing, the pledge and legion. Not only the 10 kings will pledge and make an allegiance and come and make an alliance and agree to come on board. And then I said for PowerPoint number 4, the true witness. And there's going to be a moment where the Antichrist with the 10 kings and the Lord utter these words. And the Lord said, with the false prophet, look what the Lord said, with the false prophet, they all come together and agree that it's time to take out the two witnesses. I want to make that very clear. So in this title, the sequence, you need to focus on Luke chapter 22, verse 1 to 71, because it's loaded, it's packed. And God said that when it comes to Luke 22, you need to pay attention, because there's one word really there that reflects where we're going, where we're headed, and that is the third and final crossover in the time of the Passover and the unleavened bread. I want to make that very clear. Now, there is coming a global radical shift. And not only global empires and global radical shift to global empires, because they will establish the final empire. They will come together. They are going to form what the Lord said and spoke for the third time. The Lord said a peace treaty. And you need to understand that the first one is a false peace treaty. But during the time of the Antichrist, during the time of the 10 kings, during the time of the 4 kings, and during the time of the false prophet, and in the time of the 7-year tribulation period, they will come together and make a peace treaty until the Antichrist breaks that peace treaty. I want to make that very clear. But let me make something also very clear. And that is that I'm about to do phase 2. I know that it's been 8 months, but I'm finally going to release sometime this week or this weekend. I'm going to release phase 2, and everyone needs to listen. The entire world needs to pay attention, especially leaders in the body of Christ, including the every born again believer, including the globalists, including not only those that are affiliated with the globalists, but end time prophecy is being fulfilled at accelerating pace, and the grace of God has every intention to wrap things up. So I'm going to close, but remember that you need to prepare to listen to phase 2 sometime this week or this weekend. But also bear in mind and keep in mind that I have said over and over that you need to pay attention, take your time, and dissect Luke chapter 22, verse 1 to 71 concerning the third and final crossover, but most of all concerning the Passover and the time of the unleavened bread. I close with these words and with these advice to everyone in the body of Christ and to all of civilization, that you are going to be pressured very soon. There's going to be complete, total pressure from the left and right, and the grace of God spoke for the 4th time. The glory of God said, the mark of the beast. You see, we're coming to a point where you need to understand that I said that Luke 22, it's one of the climax, and one of the climax in chapter to the final days, final moments of civilization. And the grace of God spoke for a 5th time, and the word of the Lord came, and he said, decision time, because seconds ago, the Lord uttered and brought a divine utterance, and he said, the mark of the beast. In this title, part 7 of the sequence, the global radical shift, below it empire, take over. They are seconds away from taking over. And I said to you, as I was writing those words down, please place your order. The Lord uttered and brought a divine audible word, and the Lord said, denied. I'm going to leave it here. But before I do, remember to listen in to part 6 of the title called The Trigger, because that is when everything accelerates. It goes into a place of acceleration, and then the grace of God begins to not only move the globalists, move world empires and world leaders and world power and world government. And what you got is God simply rapidly wrapping things up in the end of civilization. But first, the removal of the saints and believers, and you got the start of the 7-year tribulation period. I'll leave it right here. May the Lord so richly bless you. Remember to click like, share, subscribe, hit on the bell to receive our latest telecast. And I catch you on my next telecast of Catch and Go. God bless.